Nehemiah, the 5th chapter.
Praise
Because
Yahweh.
some of the generational bondage that generations without Yahweh are in is hard bondage.
Yeah.
Not just bondage, there's bondage and there's hard bondage.
They don't even know it.
Nehemiah, the 5th chapter. Like the Mizraim people made the children of Israel, they were in bondage, and then they took away the straw and they made them make bricks without straw. So there was hard bondage.
Yep, without Yahweh.
Nehemiah 5 and 1 verse 5. Nehemiah 5 and 5 reads,
Yet now our flesh is as the flesh of our brethren, our children as their children. And lo, we bring into bondage our sons and our daughters to be servants, and some of our daughters are brought unto bondage already. Neither it is in our power to redeem them.
Right.
For other men have our lands and vineyards.
Yeah.
and this is what the Ruach was just saying.
Yeah.
If you, whatever land you have, whatever property you have, if you don't pay the taxes, it will be taken away from you.
That's right.
Here's Nehemiah saying it back then. Yet now our flesh is as the flesh of our ark. Our children as their children, and lo, we bring our into bondage. We can do that.
Yeah.
If we came from a generation that knew not Yahweh, they brought us into bondage. But again, Yahweh doesn't leave us there. He reaches out to us.
Yes, he does.
And he starts to make us question their beliefs. Nehemiah is saying we bring into bondage our sons and our daughters.
Yes, we cause
to be abbot, to be servants.
Yeah.
And some of our Betha daughters are brought into bondage already.
Just like today.
Not only that, you know you're in bondage, said neither is it in our power to redeem them.
Like today.
We can't even get them back.
That's right.
Because we're in bondage. That's how you know you're in bondage, when you can't even get the people back.
That's right, just like today.
Because other men have our lands and our vineyards.
Yeah.
Let's go to Deuteronomy 26. So like the children of Israel in Mizraim, generations being in bondage causes their children to be in bondage.
Yeah.
So Egypt or Mizraim is a type of the world, its ideas and its ways of doing things. Deuteronomy 26.
Just like today.
Deuteronomy 26 and 1 verse. Verse 6. Deuteronomy 26. Let's read verse 6.
And the Mizraimites evil entreated us.
Yeah.
And afflicted us.
Yeah.
And laid upon us hard bondage.
Yeah.
Hard. There's bondage and there's hard bondage. It says, and Mizraim evil entreated us and afflicted us and laid upon us hard bondage. So hard bondage causes the people to be up under it to be cruel. It makes them stubborn. It makes them stiff of neck in their beliefs, even when they're the wrong beliefs. So coming up under generations that don't know Yahweh causes us to be obstinate.
Yeah, yes it does. Look at us today. Yeah.
2 Chronicles 30.
Yeah, look at the people
And
today.
obstinate in the wrong way. Obstinate against Yahweh. 2 Chronicles 30. That comes from hard bondage. Become stubborn and stiff of neck.
Yes, just like today.
2 Chronicles 30. And let's start at verse 8. 2 Chronicles 30. And let's read verse 8, please.
Now be ye not stiff-necked as your Abbas were, but yield yourself unto Yahweh and enter into his sanctuary, which he hath sanctified forever.
Hallelujah.
And serve Yahweh your Elohim, that the fierceness of his wrath may turn away from you.
Praise Yahweh. Yes,
Generations that know not Yahweh.
That's the only way.
Out of those generations come people that are stiff of neck, stubborn.
Yeah.
They fight hard against and they rebel against Yahweh.
Yeah. Yeah.
And here Yahweh is talking about these stiff-of-neck generations.
Uh-huh.
And the key to them is they're in rebellion against Yahweh.
That's it.
Because the generation they came from don't know Yahweh.
Uh-huh. That's right.
But he's saying, don't be stiff-necked.
That's right. Don't be.
As your fathers were.
Uh-huh.
But yield. And Yahweh is not like these Muslims that blow people up.
Huh.
We choose to
Tell it
yield
like
or
it
we
is.
choose
Teach
not
it.
to yield.
That's right. Teach it. Tell it like it
He
is.
said, but you yield yourself
Uh-huh.
and enter into Yahweh's sanctuary that he sanctified forever.
Yes.
And serve Yahweh your Elohim to turn away the fierceness of his wrath from you.
That's right.
It's still on the generation
Yes,
that
it
you
is.
came
Teach
from.
it today. That's the
But
problem.
it's on each one of us in our generation
Yeah.
to make the choice to turn it away from
Teach it. Tell it like
us.
it is.
Verse 9.
For if ye turn again unto Yahweh, your brethren and your children shall find compassion before them that lead them captive.
Yeah.
So that they shall come again into this land. For Yahweh your Elohim is gracious
Yes, he is.
and merciful,
Yes, he is.
and will not turn away his face
No,
from
he
you
won't.
if ye return.
Return to Dutch, says Yahweh. Return to Yahweh.
Here's Yahweh showing how good he is
Yeah.
again. He's saying if you turn again to
That's
Yahweh,
us today.
not only you, but your brethren and your children gonna find compassion.
Yes. Yes, they will.
They may still be in captivity, but it's not going to be that hard bondage. It's not going to make them be so cruel and stiff of neck
That's
and
right.
stubborn and make it harder for them to turn to Yahweh.
That's right. He's talking to us
He
today.
said, if you turn again, if you do this, you can turn a whole lot of stuff around.
Yes.
For your brethren, your children, they're going to find compassion. And this compassion will lead them to come back
praise
into
Yahweh,
the land. Back to Yahweh. For Yahweh your Elohim, he is gracious.
Yes, he is.
He is merciful. He won't turn his face away from you if you return to him.
That's what we must do today. Teach it, tell it like it is.
Verse 10.
So the posts passed from city to city through the country of Ephraim and Manasseh, even unto Zebulun. But they laughed them to scorn and mocked them.
Now, here was this message that was sent out from Yahweh through the messenger to this generation that did not know Yahweh, trying to get them to come to know Yahweh and turn back to Yahweh. And then it said, the post or the message passed from city to city through Ephraim and Manasseh and Zebulun. And they laughed them to scorn.
Just like today.
Again, generation that don't know Yahweh. They'll laugh you to scorn. Because they're in stubborn rebellion against Yahweh. And they're stiff of neck from that hard bondage.
Right.
They got what Yahweh calls a stony heart.
Yeah.
Verse 11.
Nevertheless, divers of Asher, Manasseh, and of Zebulun humbled themselves and came to Jerusalem.
Praise our
All
Yahweh.
right, so here you had some people that came out of that generation that didn't know Yahweh and decided they wanted to know Him.
Just like
They
today.
humbled
Praise our
themselves,
Yahweh. Praise Him.
and they came to Jerusalem. Verse 12.
Also in Yehuda, the hand of Elohim was given them one heart to do the commandment of the king and of the princes by the word of Yahweh.
So here's Yehuda, and they came, and it says they gave them one mind, one heart, to do Ha-Mishpah, which was the commandment of Yahweh. It says the Mishpah of the Melech, the king, and of the Nasi, the princes, but it was, says by the Dabar, the word of Yahweh.
That's right.
From Yahweh.
This
was Yahweh's doing, reaching out like he does to those of us that come from generations that don't know him. All right, verse 13.
And there assembled at Jerusalem, much people to keep the feast of unleavened bread in the second month, a very great congregation.
14.
And they arose and took away the altars that were in Jerusalem, and all the altars for incense took they away and cast them into the brook Kidron.
So they not only assembled to keep Yahweh's holy days, but they trashed these altars to these pagan Elohims. Again, that's what generations that don't know Yahweh do. They serve other Elohims.
Right.
Everything else is first but Yahweh.
Right.
So not only did they respect Yahweh and keep the Feast of Unleavened Bread, but it says they took away these altars to pagan deities that were in Jerusalem, and all the altars for incense to pagan deities, and they threw them in the river.
Praise Yahweh.
Verse 15.
Then they killed the Passover on the 14th day of the second month, and the priests and the Levites were ashamed and sanctified themselves, and brought in the burnt offerings into the house of Yahweh.
So they were convicted of heart. Their heart, they allowed Yahweh to tenderize their heart.
Praise
to take away that stoniness out of their heart, that stiff of neck. It says, then they killed the Pesach on the 14th yom of the second month. And the Kohen and the Levites were ashamed. Yahweh said, when we come out of if we were raised by a generation that knew not Yahweh, when we come into submitting and humbling ourselves and wanting to know Yahweh, we will think back on some things that we did that generation still says is all right.
Right.
And we will be ashamed
Ashamed not to do it.
Then you know it's working right.
Yeah,
okay.
not to do it.
I'm
Praise
in right
Yahweh.
standing with Yahweh because I'm convicted about it. I feel ashamed about it. All right, I'm on the right track.
Praise Him.
It says they sanctified themselves and brought in, they knew what they were supposed to do, but they weren't doing it. Because generations that don't know Yahweh, they think nothing about doing what Yahweh
That's right.
said.
Teach it to like it is.
They think it's a light thing. They think it's unimportant.
Right.
They think it's not a part of the real world.